Guys, I'm really excited about today's guest on Every Damn Friday. One of my favorite shows that I ever played in front of about 5,000 people was with his band, Sundy Best. Today's guest, the incomparable, a favorite son of Kentucky, Mr. Nicholas Jamerson. Hope you like our conversation here on Every Damn Friday. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Every Damn Friday. This is a special one. Got an old friend, Nicholas Jamerson. You probably know him in a lot of different ways. He's got his start with Sunday Best, and he's a visual artist, and he's doing a lot of solo work right now, and it's just kind of been the gold standard for Kentucky songwriters. And I'm so glad that he's here today. What do you say, buddy?
Buddy, not much. I appreciate you having me.
Listen, I told somebody it was Jonathan Payton. We were doing one of these, and he's so excited to play with you at the Ramble, and we kind of had a discussion. And here's the deal, man. And this is for the people out there. This isn't for you. And I'm not trying to stroke your ego, or well, I am, I guess. But but here's the deal. Like, to me, and I don't know if he'll say it or not, but there's no Tyler without you and Sunday Best, probably kind of paving the way. And if there's no Tyler, there's no Charles Wesley Godwin, there's no Wyatt Flores, there's no Zach Bryan. I mean, I know that's some 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon, but if we're being honest, man, like you've been an inspiration to a lot of people, and I'm not, like, I'm gushing a little bit, but I've always, like, the shows that I got to play with Sunday Best were always some of my favorites, and just because I was proud of you all being from Kentucky, and anyway, I just wanted you to know that. Like, you're not going to give yourself enough credit, but for the people that are watching at home, Nick's kind of a big deal.
I appreciate you saying
At
that.
least in Prestonsburg, you are.
I don't know. It's like I don't know if you saw that ragweed thing. They're getting back together and they got that song. You're always 17 in your hometown.
Yep. You'll never be famous, man.
No.
Because well, and we can talk about this in a minute too, but you're just Nick.
And that's good. And it's good and it's frustrating, but because there's just more context to me, I think, in small towns. So
But I remember when I quit teaching and we were touring quite a bit, I would see the old guys at the gas station. They go, "When are you going to stop running around all that silly music stuff and get back to work?" And you're like, "Man, like I'm doing okay. Like I'm paying bills, dude."
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. It's got its advantages and disadvantages.
But I think we have that in common, though. Like, I'm living in my grandparents' house. We bought their farm. My kids are going to the same high school I went to. You know, where my dad taught. You know, to me, that's super important. And even when we were traveling a lot and going to Nashville, it seemed like once or twice or 3 times a week, people would be like, "Why do you drive all the way from there?" I don't know. I don't want to live in Tennessee. I kind of like where I'm at.
Yeah, it's I think creatively it's good. It's like the the world is so chaotic, and then you can come back to your little piece of the world that's blocked off from everything pretty much. And um just that solitude, um it can just be it's a good place to be grounded in, I think.
Well, you and I can both go outside right now and see stars if it wasn't raining.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's uh, but so I actually just got back. So I'm dressed like this. I had to go to Bourbon and Beyond and pick up my art pieces before they tore everything down. And I can be in Louisville in 55 minutes. But then, and all the restaurants, all the whatever, but I can be back on the farm just like that. And I don't ever want to live in one of those places.
Yeah, I mean, I really like during the pandemic, that's when I really like there was so much value in being here because no matter how crazy it was in the rest of the world, you just go outside and it's like, okay.
Well, it's like nothing was different.
Yeah.
When you were at home, it was just like, this is the way it is all the time.
Yeah.
But
So
like you were saying a while ago, though, there is something about being out in the middle of nowhere that makes you long for connection. And you said that was something you kind of have been craving in between shows.
yeah, just trying to make an impact, wanting to make an impact in this world. And I was thinking too, it's like, most of the people that listen to my music in some form or fashion, like I don't know them. I don't get that, like, people reach out to me all the
You'll get
time.
feedback.
Yeah, I always do, and it's 98% positive, but my brother's a teacher, my dad was a teacher, my grandparents were teachers, and
Well, you
just
asked me one time about coaching. I wondered if, because I saw you making those T-shirts for.
yeah, no, I still got it. I feel like I'm gonna be 40 next year, and I've always kind of eyeballed that as like things were going to change, and I think I'll always play and tour and make music and art in some capacity, but like I've felt this urge.
Did you ever really think, or did you ever? Not that you thought it, because you could have, but did you ever want to be like a stadium act?
No, I mean,
Yeah, I wanted to play like the Palace and or Mercury Ballroom. I was like, if I could play those kind of venues, man, that would be really cool.
yeah, like at the like I think 1,000 seat venues is like, to me that seems like the perfect place if you could get a bunch of those across the country,
Yeah.
because just sustainability. It's like, because I just think things get so big that then
The bubble
just,
burst.
yeah. And in my experience with Sunday Best, like even early on, like it was, we were getting out there, and I felt like we were right on the cusp of some big things. And the team, there were 6 of us on the road. There was 4 in the band, and then a front of house guy. And
Oh, Stan Nickel.
oh yeah, oh
Oh,
yeah,
Bub.
I saw that skull, Colonel Sanders in the
Oh yeah.
background there, and I remember he had a shirt that had that
Oh
on it.
yeah.
Um,
Oh, Stan. He's like, hey, Bub. Are, are we gonna go? Are we gonna go party tonight after this show? I'm like, man, I need to go to bed. He's like, whatever, Bub. I don't know. I want to have a good time.
yeah, it was, it was fun, and but it was like we couldn't get off the road because people were having to, were relying on this, thing. And I I love, like, I feel like being a conduit for other people as far as money goes, in this world, because, it's just hard, but
Yeah.
it can turn into something. It can turn into, like, uh, you know, I think that when you're an entrepreneur, it's not 9 to 5, it's 24/7.
Yeah.
You
Your
you
your
never get,
your face is still glowing in bed while your wife's asleep.
yeah. So I mean, I couldn't imagine. I mean, I've actually been talking about this recently because we played Bourbon and Beyond, and we played with Charles Wesley Godwin last weekend, and that was a taste of that world. It's like it was very shell shocking to me. I'm pretty, like, content with how things are, because I feel like they're it's how I want it to be. But then you go into a place where things are so big, and you're like,
But
have
let's
I?
talk about Charles, though. I mean, I remember him posting a year or so ago, like he was costing him like 15 grand a month. And he wasn't making nothing,
Yeah,
just keep it going. And it's like, and it worked out. Thank God for him. But it's like, that's a lot of pressure. And then you got to write songs too, and you got to get up and perform and pretend like you're enjoying yourself when you've got a credit card that's just, you know,
yeah,
whew.
yeah.
I know we had so I had just had I was in a band called Floored. That's actually I was still playing with them the first time I saw you all at the Kentucky FFA convention at Rupp Arena.
Oh God.
Uh, but I we kind of got to that place where it was like, do you want to go out? Like we're kind of like shoot or get off the pot. You want to go out 250 days, or if you're not, then we're kind of done, you know.
Yeah.
And I was like tears in my eyes, and the other guys in the band were brothers of mine. Like it was just like, guys, I can't do it. Like I don't want to be gone that much. I got two
Yeah.
babies, and uh and I'm sure there was some hard feelings for a while, but I'm like, I won't be no good to you. And then even with the Jericho Woods thing, it was like still like even though I was home 3 or 4 days a week because I wasn't working, you know, you drive home a whole lot faster than you leave, you know, and you got a baby, so it's like you don't want to miss stuff.
No, and like you said, you, you may be doing good, but then like that money thing, like it's always what's it called? Like diminishing returns,
Yeah.
and I've always, there's always a floating scale of like how much you get paid, how good the show is, what's the exposure, like there's all these factors that go into it.
Well, even just having 4 people in your band, you know, we had 5, and to keep them working, you had to play shows, and otherwise they were going to get another job. And if it was playing, you know, and I love Austin City, but if it was playing 4 hour set at Austin City so that everybody got paid $200, it's what you did. And it was just like you talk about diminishing returns. Like I was ready to drive the van into a ditch after that.
I'm sure it's it's a it's not a it's and it's yeah it's not a it's so different of an environment, I think, from home, and
Yeah.
so like once you go back home, it's just like it's just two different worlds. It's jolting,
Well,
it's just
it's like if you're an addict, it,
yeah,
and who was it?
yeah,
Somebody messaged or said something to me the other day. So artists are like gambling addicts. You know, we're throwing all this stuff out there, hoping to God that somebody is interested in it. You know, you get a little bit of positive feedback, and then you want to double down. You know, and
yeah. It's that hit of dopamine and all that stuff from the whole experience. I love it, like I love the whole rhythm of it,
yeah.
but then you just end up chasing it, and it's like, well, it's just
And
like,
comparison is a thief of joy. You know,
oh
you
yeah,
probably were like, man, things are going great, and then you go play a big show. But if you're making $10,000, how much of that is in production? How much of that is in, you know, like
yeah,
you said, road crew?
yeah.
But
It's a
you
whole
can make $1,500, and maybe it all goes in your
Yeah,
pocket.
it's a trap. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
It's a trap because it's just like the house market right now. I'm like, oh, I could sell my house for more than I double what I bought it, but then I'd have to buy another one.
And you can't afford it.
You can't afford it, so it's
Yeah.
just yeah. But like I said, the 12:30 slot at Bourbon and Beyond, like it was kind of weird, just in and out, first act, and I had to go straight back to Prestonsburg. So I don't feel like I had context for what I was even in. I was like, but a 7 o'clock slot. Now that's you know,
Oh
that's a
man,
whole
like
different experience.
'cause I was telling you, you know, there's going to be a lot of people there, but and there probably was. There was probably 5,000 people watching you. But in a place that holds 100,000 people, it's like,
And they're so far away anyway, like beyond the VIP, it was just like
hey
it's
guys,
no, it was bizarre.
well
And
maybe Dale will put you at 7 o'clock next year.
who's that?
That's the guy who books everything.
Okay, yeah, maybe.
But what I'm hearing you say is that you really kind of like being in this place where you have autonomy, and you're in control. You don't have a big payroll. You get to work. I mean, you're still like, to me, it's about the respect.
Mhm.
And when you got Aaron Ratier, saying, "Hey, come play this round at the Bluebird with me," which how awesome was that?
Yeah, dude. I mean, that was
I
that
mean, you
was
got a turtle jersey.
yeah, that was a really affirming. Just like I said this to people that it was me and him and Hayes Carl, and
It was awesome.
Hayes was like a figment of my imagination, for 20 years. It's like a friend of mine in high school was talking about him, and this is before, the internet really took off with access to
It was
music. So
still
I'm
going.
just like, yeah, I'm just like, yeah, Hayes Carl, whatever, and then you keep hearing that name, you keep hearing that name, and then I'm sitting across from him, and he's telling me that he likes, my songs. It's just like in that room,
Yeah,
like I felt like the weight of the room, like it was like,
I played
okay,
an open mic and I felt like it was the Grand Ole Opry.
yeah, no, I mean
You know,
it was that kind of feeling too. Like I, yeah, I mean, we all felt it, and
so,
so
so I interviewed John Decius, one of the first ones I did on this, and him and Aaron. What a what an odd couple, and living in that trailer. And he said every day, he said I was up early drinking coffee and all that, and Aaron was kind of rolling out a little bit, and he was like, "Will you please be quiet?" And he's like, "We need 30 minutes a day of just quiet. Don't talk to me." And but then it started this every 30 minutes they try to write a song. So every day they'd wake up, write a song every day in 30 minutes. And he said some of those are great. One of them was Armadillo. It's like some of them were terrible. Like 100 of them were terrible. But those guys, it's like that's what I guess that's what I've always been chasing is. It's like when I'm dirt, is anybody going to look back at this big mess of stuff and go, you know what, that was all right? Or they're going to go, man, this guy spun his wheels his oh, you know what I'm saying? It's like I don't want the money. I want people to just go, man, you know what? Keep doing what you're doing. Like
yeah,
it that and I feel like you're starting to land in that place where it's like Sunny Best was a group and it had its own kind of identity. But what you're doing now is like, it seems like a true artist. It seems like you really are being an artist. And
I,
that's nice because then you can do whatever you want.
yeah, it's that's what I'm trying to do. It's like I said, it's hard because you don't have that day to day like affirmation.
How many
That
songs do you have recorded that you could release like right now?
I, I just finished. I'm about 80% through a record, and then I've been writing a song a week all year. So I'm pretty,
So
you know,
what I've done that's making my wife mad is it's kind of like you. You're in your little space there. So I've spent a lot of time working on my shop and I've got everything that I need to record. All I gotta do is flip a switch and it's like boom. So you don't have to like move stuff around. Like I'll even set up the drums sometimes and to where I can at least lay down some crappy beat to send to somebody else to play on. But it's like it, it's awesome. But then it's like, what am I going to do with all this stuff? Like, how do I group these things together? How far do I want to produce them, or do I want to just leave them?
I hear you. Like
And
it's hard to play all the roles.
yeah, I've got Anna coming in here tomorrow, and she's going to play me some fiddle. But I don't know. It's like but that's the fun part. I don't have anybody. Nobody has to approve it. I could drop it tomorrow if I wanted to, and just let it go out into the white noise ether and it's fine. I'll start over again.
Yeah, I'm really trying to like figure that process out for myself too, because it's like this record that I'm working on is it's a big studio record, but I'm trying, like it feels like the beginning of like the rest of my life in a way, and figuring out what, it's like you try so hard to like establish yourself, and then you get established, or you kind of figure out what you're doing, and then then you're trying to figure out the next thing, and
You don't want to disappoint anybody.
I don't want to disappoint anybody, but I also don't care. I don't care so much. It's like I want to just, I have to, I'm trying to, how do I enjoy it's like, what is my purpose in doing this? It's like I can pay my bills,
Is it commercial gain or is it
or is it
catharsis?
is it both? I think it could be both. With Aaron and meeting someone like Aaron, I'm like, that guy is so genuine. He'll just write the song, and like you said, some of them are trash, some of them are, but it's that freedom. Like he is so open. Like,
He's not saying, is this a Nick Jamerson song? He's just like, I got an idea. I got to roll with this.
yeah, and we'll write it together. And I felt like we wrote one, and it was a song for him. But I'm interested in that world. If I don't have to like, um, if I can write something genuine, like I said with Aaron, it felt genuine. We were just writing, and he's
Have,
tapped into that
have you
world.
ever, because I've always admired like somebody like Jaron Johnson or even like Chris Stapleton, where these people were able to be writers and could write whatever song needed to be written for whatever person. But that fueled, that fed them as an artist because they're like, I'm a songwriter. I'm just gonna go out and play. I'm gonna be the Johnson brothers and play rock music, or I'm gonna, have the Cadillac 3 and do this thing. And it didn't matter if it was commercially successful because they were writing songs and that was what they were getting mailbox money. I
Yeah,
always thought that would be a neat avenue.
same. That's always intrigued me, but I've just had to be going through my own thing. I feel like before I was ready for that, and yeah, I've written a lot of stuff for myself, so it's like I feel like less attached to it in a way of like, yeah, let's just go write the song and let's do it. And it's awesome to help someone bring whatever they're feeling out and out of them. So
Something I've seen from you too, though, like, like you always sound like yourself, but you're not married to a style necessarily or a genre so much as, uh, I mean, you're always writing a song, so it's not like a pop song or something. There's always something there, but it's like, you know, you could, you don't want to write the same song every time. Like you want it to be, and some people don't like that. They get a formula and they like this, like we were talking about. Sunday Best was a thing, but you can be different on every record. And you've done some stuff that has surprised me. That was very bluesy,
yeah,
and the instrumentation was neat, and I think, and that's inspiring because then it's like, you know what? Because I did a rock record a couple records ago, and it's like I can do whatever I want.
yeah, it's so easy to box yourself in because of what you've done and preconceived notions and expectation, and it's hard to go against that. But I've always felt like the people that I loved the most were always evolving, and I
All
saw
the
them
great
take.
ones are, and they went through hard stuff. It's like Bob Dylan, maybe the greatest songwriter of all time. If you look at the chart
Oh, yeah,
positions, it's like, yeah, he'd have a number one, but then he'd have a turd, and the next one maybe got to 35. Then he'd have another top 10. And there's people that hate some of his albums and love other ones. So I'm
yeah,
not comparing us to
I
Bob
feel
Dylan.
that way about him, but I always think about him because just at his peak, he went electric and pissed everyone off, and it was like, man. And I saw him, Chris and I, and our tour manager. We were out in L.A. years ago and saw him at the Sony Theater, and we left because he didn't play anything that anybody that I knew, and I couldn't understand him at all. And I was like, I got to have one or the other.
So somebody's compared him to Jamie Johnson before to me. They're like, you're either going to get the best show you've ever seen, or they're going to be pissed off and like turn their back to you. And so I saw him at the Palace a couple years ago, and I couldn't imagine him being better at 40 than he was at 80. Like just killed it.
Yeah, it's
But
awesome.
I think that's unusual.
Someone was like, yeah, but if he'd play all the hits, he'd be in stadiums instead of those rooms.
He's
And
still playing by his own rules.
exactly, and that's, I think, how he's been able to do it for as long as he has, because you know
Hey, I'm gonna change subjects because I wrote something down and I don't want to not talk about it. I didn't realize how big of an athlete you were. I
Oh
didn't know you
yeah,
were, like I knew you were good, but I didn't know you were a stud. Somebody posted something the other day that like you like like did you walk on at UK?
I had an opportunity to.
Okay.
I
But you went to U
I
Pike instead?
yeah, I my grandfather played at UK.
Okay.
Uh, he played under coach under Bear Bryant,
Oh,
and
awesome.
and he scored 2 touchdowns in the Sugar Bowl when they beat Oklahoma. So he was like he's
Yeah,
a
he's
legend.
royalty.
Yeah, he's royalty. So we grew up, going to UK games and all that stuff. So that was my dream. And yeah, I had an opportunity to walk on, and just I was thinking about this the other day. They were set. They were like, nothing's going to be the different. You're just going to be a walk on, all this stuff. And the first day I get there, they're like, yeah, we can't give you all the same things that we give everybody else because you're a walk on. And I was like,
Is that how Mummy?
no, that was Joker.
Oh, okay.
It was Joker. That was like Coach Brooks Joker era, and
Okay. Okay. Oh yeah.
so
I'm how Mummy era. I'm older than
2004. And I left. I was intimidated, I think, by the situation, and just kind of burnt on football because it had just like
it'd been everything.
it had ruled my life. And then I was kind of lost without it. I wanted to play music, but it's like, how do you play music for a living? And so I went to I was out of school for some. I went to UK. I dropped out. I came back home and I worked. I surveyed coal pits on a strip job for a semester while I was in school, and then the next year I went to UPike and played. And
You got state record, don't you? High school record?
I it's like tied most most punt returns in a season.
Right?
I had
So
6.
that means you had good defense.
Yeah, we had good defense, and my dad was the special teams coach. And uh, once I tied it, they quit kicking to me the rest of the year. And so yeah, my junior year was kind of like I had like 2,500 yards all purpose and state. Like I said, tied the state record. Um, and then like really that was kind of I feel like the peak for me. Like I had a pretty good senior year and had offers to go places, but I was just kind of over it. I feel like at that point, and even though I played 4 more years at Pikeville, that got me through school. And
So
my
at that
first
point, it was more of like, this is my way to
the
this
first
done.
year the first year we were really good. Like we had a couple guys that were in pro camps. And we were like third in the mid south was like Georgetown and University of Cumberland and Campbellsville and people like that. And we got to the playoffs that year. And my coach that year um, was a songwriter. He actually is the one who got me in to song, like into writing and touring. It was like it was so
That's weird.
serendipitous. Yeah, because it was like I was really like I was like, man, like UK and UPOC are not the same,
They're not.
And so I was like having a really hard time like with my choices. And I sang in this they have this campus, this homecoming talent show once a
Okay.
semester. And I sang Here Without You by Three Doors Down.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
How do we know we're old that we like Three Doors Down?
Oh yeah. It was they were like the first act that played at the Expo Center in Pikeville. So I was like hot on them.
The
And
greatest thing you'd ever seen.
yeah, my coach was like, dude, what's up? Like what are you doing? Like, what are you doing here? He's like, why aren't you doing that? And I was like, how do you do
It
that?
had
And
you always sang at home, like like
yeah,
because we had like a really good chorus program. So like there was a lot of people who sang, and it wasn't like people would say you're great, but people weren't like, man, I mean, I had friends that were like, man, if I had what you had, I wouldn't be going to school. I'd go do this thing, but it just didn't seem like a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, same. Like I sang in church and I was in choir, but like I'm literally on the country music highway,
Yeah,
you
you
know?
are.
And so those are all the people that made it out. But there was like I grew up around so many like insane, like virtuoso level like instrumentalists.
Yeah,
And
like I'm 50 minutes from where Bill Monroe was born. So it's like everybody around here plays something.
yeah. So I mean, I was always supported, but up to that point I'd only sang in church really. And so that was kind of like so Jerry Minot is his name, and he got me. He was just like started like bouncing stuff off me, and he left that second semester, and he was just burnt out by the whole thing. And but we stayed in touch, and he started booking me gigs like over in Virginia, and he took me to Johnson City, and that next summer in like 2000, ended up being like 2006, like the summer I turned 21. And I met a guy named Alan Cormier and a guy named Roger Allen Wade. And Roger, that's Johnny Knoxville's cousin. He
Yeah.
wrote those, those songs for Jackass. And so that was like my exposure to like songwriter, like a real songwriter. So that was like when it became real to me of like, okay, I think I can do this. I'd been writing some songs, but like to have people that were writing songs be like, yeah, you can do this. Like this is really good. And I was like, all right, I'm ready to drop out of school and
Mhm.
move to Johnson City. And
But
I
you ended
didn't
up
do
in
that.
Lexington. But you ended up in Lexington at Redmond's every week.
Yeah. So that was, I was in school about 3 or 4 more years, and I was playing back in Pottville with Zach Lafferty, who is with me now. I don't know if you know Zach or not, but
I've met Zach.
we grew up together, and we were doing that. You know, we did that for 4 years, and then when I graduated, yeah, I called Chris and I was like, man, I need some drums. And he's like, I don't have any drums, but if you need a drummer, you know, I'll come play with you guys. And um, yeah, we I remember him coming, and the first rehearsal we had was in my dad's living room. And at like 3 in the morning, we're playing like ACDC, like Shook All Night Long or something like that. 30 beers, and the
Oh yeah.
neighbors knocked on the door, and I thought they were mad and they were going to call my dad because my dad left to let us do that. And um, they liked what we were doing, so they were just
Again,
there to
all
hang.
you need is a little. It's like hitting one good golf shot around. That's all it takes to come back the next time.
Yeah, yeah, no, I mean it was affirming. We played in Pottville a couple times, and then yeah, I moved to Lexington, and we did BD's Mongolian Grill for a little bit, Hooters, and we played. It was Saddle Ridge. We played the patio out on Saddle Ridge.
I
It was
remember
like
Saddle Ridge.
nickel uh, draft beer. Uh,
We didn't play. I didn't play Lexington a lot, but it was like High on Rose and Varsity Blue. Uh, I'm a little bit older than you, but
I know Rose. I don't know High on Blue. Is
but
that what
it
you said? Or Varsity Blue? What'd
Varsity
you
Blue. Yeah, I
Varsity?
think it
Yeah.
got closed down. I think it was there was underage drinking going on there,
Go figure.
but so I don't want to spend a lot of time on Sunday best, even though it's a big part of what you're doing. Uh, but that was obviously you were the darlings of the state, you know. And, I mean, when I posted that you were playing here, still a lot of those people here locally, because we don't listen. The Ramble is all about me trying to give people here in my community a little bit of exposure to other stuff besides
Yeah.
what's on radio. But they know who you are because of Sunny Best, which I'm excited for them to hear, your solo stuff. But what's the solo journey been like? Because NJ is still like one of my favorites. But at what point were you like, I got to do this on my own?
Um, I never thought Sunday Best was going to. I never thought we would do what we did.
We're just
It,
going to be the Redmonds guys.
like
make some money.
really, it was like that. That was a dream come true playing Redlands. Going there in college and then just being from a small town and being in the city and on Main Street. Like that was as far as I could have ever dreamed us going. And then, you know, then one thing led to another. And what you were saying earlier about Sunday Best, kind of paving the way for other people. What I do think we did was we brought local original music to the main, like, sort of stream. Maybe
Yeah.
not like mainstream, but like people were like, "Oh, we can do this from here. We don't have to," because there was, we're all from a long line of someone else, that led us here and we're influenced by. But um, you know, at the time, us being on CMT and all that stuff, I felt like was a huge deal for people. And
It made it possible. You know, when we were on it, the first thing I thought of was, Sonny Best did this too,
yeah, it's
and proud to be able to do the same thing.
yeah, and it was incredible. I feel like we broke through the
Now,
ceiling.
now I don't know but I do remember the day we got the call from our manager that, hey, you're going to get a video on CMT. I'm like, that's awesome. We were playing State Fair, and she goes, and I need $1,000 for Viacom. You have to pay a licensing fee. I was like, what? Like, yeah, if you want to have it played, like, I was like, okay. Am I gonna? I guess I'm gonna sell a guitar so we can have video on CMT.
Well, we're still in recoupment from a lot of those deals, so that's probably where some of that goes. But I think I was always thinking about it, like that was because just, you know, the thing with Chris and I thought, which it was what made it different. It was also really like, there's just two of us,
Yeah,
and that was what I think made it cool. But it also, like, instrumentally, I just always wanted more, but I don't think that really, even that year with Stan and Teddy, like we made it work, but that wasn't really, it's not really what it is, you
it
know?
was it was the two of you.
Yeah.
And
Still,
that was what was magic about it.
yeah. And that's what, yeah. So I, I wrote, I wrote Veterans Day, which is on, NJ. And I was like, this ain't a Sunday Best song. Like, this is like, to me, it was like the band. It was like Levon style
Yep.
drums, and I was like, okay, this is where I got to draw the line.
And you feel bad, but it's like, Jericho Woods was a thing, and I wrote songs that were over here, and
Yeah,
never going to get played at a live show,
and I
and
don't think I should have ever felt bad. Like I did, because of, like, just I think how invested everyone else was
just
in.
loyalty,
But I gave everything to that, So I ultimately had to just do what I had to do. And so it was very humbling. I thought that, my thing was like, I feel like I am this, I'm not myself. Like I am uh the lead singer in this band. Like, who am I? Like, I don't have any sort of identity outside of this. And
listen, that's happened to me twice. I've had two bands dissolve, and the last one wasn't as big as Sunny Best, but it had 20,000 followers on social
yeah,
media. And then once you go solo, you're zero again.
yeah, that's where it was. It was like nobody really showed up. I mean, some people did. Like, it wasn't completely ground zero, but like I couldn't believe it, because I was like, but then I was like,
I'm
well,
the
yeah,
same guy.
yeah, yeah. I was like, I'm the same guy singing with the same voice. And um, but that also gave me a lot of, like, you can't always see what you're in when you're just in the middle of it. So that gave me good perspective of what Sunday Best actually was, and the energy of it. And but I was mad. I was bitter about people not showing up and feeling like I was 30 years old and I had nothing to my name really.
Right.
And so I made that first record, that NJ record. It really like just busted out of me. Like I feel like I had
You'd
just
wait your whole
waited.
life to do that.
I've waited my whole life and I knew exactly what I wanted to do, and it's kind of a blur. Um and made that, and then I I found this book, this visual artist, The Mission of Art. It's Alex Gray. Are you familiar with
Okay.
him?
No, but I'm gonna look now.
He does all the tool art,
Okay,
and
yeah,
it's really like out there. Um,
yeah, like
and his,
the oh, what's the Fibonacci
yeah,
sequence and all that kind of stuff.
and like a lot of of like anatomy, like muscles and bones, and like the energy field of the human body and all this stuff. And I mean, he he talks about, he's doing mushrooms and LSD and DMT and all this stuff, and having these visions. And I'd also been heavily influenced by Sturgill's Meta Modern, which
Yeah,
is that you know that record and the book. It basically, the book was just like, your art is like it's your spiritual journey. And I've kind of always heard that and thought about it, but like I feel like I was also at a place in my life where I was like needing God. Like I feel like I had this version of God that you grow up in church as a kid, with all these words that don't you have no frame of reference to them.
yeah.
There's empty words. So I was like
I mean, I was
really,
Catholic, so we are all just like, well, I'm still
yeah,
Catholic, but we say the same prayers in unison all the time, and it's like I could say them with without thinking about them.
yeah. So it's everybody's you know been there, I guess, in some regard. But it just kind of gave the book kind of gave me permission to explore that in my music. Like,
Is that also when you started doing the art too?
yeah, because I was, well, I'd been home. That's when I first, we went through the Sunday Best, that initial breakup, and I left Lexington. I was living there for 5 years, so I moved back home. And yeah, it was just, I was watching a lot of Bob Ross on
Mhm.
Netflix.
Had to
and
grow trees.
and it was also like music was my way of living, and I didn't have like that. I didn't feel that freedom. It was like, once it becomes your job, then it's your job, and when money gets involved in the creation of it, it's just like,
Well, like we were saying, you write a song, you go, but is this a Sunday Best song? Or what can I do to make this a Sunday Best song?
yeah. So I needed another outlet to just express, and to let go. It was just like, just letting go of preconceived notions for what things are supposed to look like. And um
Going back to what we're
so
talking about too, you talking about the arc of your career and stuff though. It's like now you've been doing it long enough where you can kind of map it and go, yep, I was doing that there. I know exactly what I was doing. And then this happened. And then, you could probably see some wisdom. The wisdom graph is probably been a long, straight, growth, but there's been other stuff that have
oh yeah,
like, I don't know, I did that one.
yeah, but that's what it's for. I think that ultimately is what this art is for, is to like give us that map, show us what we've been through and what we've learned. And it's not life or death. It's
Uh-huh.
supposed to be like, it's just an expression. And it gets it out of you, and then you can have new perspective on it, and then you learn, then you just do it different. And I think that pendulum is always swinging, like I said, I felt like the Sunday best stuff, I was really like tapped into like this mainstream, like commercial way of writing. And then I
And you
was
were living that too, though. Like, you were in that.
true.
It was
I
it
was
was
young.
authentic.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it was what I knew, but then you just grow, and then it's like I said, I went through this sort of, I feel like initiation within myself of just like just my spirit, and I had to get right with that before I just had to do that,
Yeah.
and it's been 10 years that I feel like I'm on the other side of it finally, of like, okay, like this last record that I recorded, like it's like the Wild Frontier for me was like this trilogy of like the Wild Frontier, Peace Mountain, and then this final one is like this cohesive thing of, like I said, just this inner spiritual journey that I've been on. And I've just been thankful that like especially the Wild Frontier, I was like, man, these are not my best songs. Like that was really hard to like let go of that. It's like, this isn't the best 15 songs that I've got. This is the
But
songs that,
it was that chapter.
yeah, it fits these are the parameters. These are the ones. And I feel so fortunate to just be able to me go to my absolute, like the edge of my creative mind and expression, and be accepted for that.
And hit record and not worry about it and not second guess it.
I
Yeah.
second guessed it, because it's like, I think it's just, like I said, I'd experienced all that with Sunday Best of such a level that it's like, but then you're just like, not everything that's popular is good. And I'm not saying
True.
Sunday Best isn't, but
Well,
I'm just
and
saying like,
you don't know what's going to be their favorite song. I mean, there's songs
right.
like this is a hit. Like this is really gonna.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like, they like the weird song or they like the acoustic song or you never know.
Yeah. You just got to do it, and have faith, and you'll live to write another song. And, um, so I've learned a lot for sure. And
So
like I said,
you got a record that you're about to finish up. Of course, for the people from around here that are watching this, all four of them,
we're going to get at least five.
there you go. Maybe we'll break 100 on this one. Uh, this is another thing too, Nick. It's like this is just like music. It's like you got to just do one, and the first four or five are probably not going to get a lot of views, and but if you don't do the first one, you won't do the 100th one, and
Right.
But for those of y'all that are watching, all 26 of you, Nick's going to be here on October 19th with Jonathan and Abigail Payton at the Randall. It's going to be awesome. Country Boy's going to be here. They're going to have some beer for sale. You bring your own. But I'm really excited. Again, Nick is such an artist and a great singer. And again, like you are kind of a triple threat, man. Like that there's people who can write songs, there's people who can sing, there's people who can perform, and there's not a whole lot of people that can do all those things. So I think you guys are really going to appreciate that. You got some shows at the Burl around Christmas time in Lexington. What else? Is there any other big shows that you got coming up that people need to know about? This will drop next Friday on the 11th.
Um, we have, um, we have a Sunday Best show down at uh Renfro Valley.
Yeah, I saw that.
Um,
Is that
November.
still fun? I mean, isn't
Yeah.
it great just to like go do that?
Oh yeah, it's great. As long as people are open to us, it is really a blast and such a blessing. I feel like the crowds in Kentucky, it just makes it, man. It just to have,
Well, like you said, you have perspective now.
yeah, I don't have to worry about what Sunday Best isn't, because I have infinite expression anywhere else. So
Yeah.
I can Chris and I have known each other for 20 years, and so it's like I can I really cherish it. I really do. And to get to play some of these big rooms across, the state, it's unbelievable. So it still blows my mind that a guy on acoustic and a guy on a cajon are doing this, So
But that, like we said, that's where the magic was.
yeah, it really I never saw it coming, and I'm eternally thankful for that and the people that have supported me in all avenues, because some people were mad. They were really upset about Sunday Best, you know, and that was tough for me to not do that. And um,
But you kind of had to rip the Band-Aid off.
yeah, because it's fine,
Yeah.
it's fine. And so we got that, and then I'm at the down at the Bell Theater
Okay.
end of November the 23rd.
Oh, John Grace.
Yeah, I've never played. Well, I'll take it back. I played there years ago, solo acoustic, and that was one of the shows nobody really came to. So
Hey, listen, we've had a couple of those together. It is what it, but
it
those were,
is what it is. I obviously I want to sell tickets and I want people to be there everywhere. But
I'd
it's
rather you be there listening and paying attention and not talking over everything and getting hammered and
Yeah, like that's one thing, back to what I was saying about just being a little smaller and under the radar. It's like it doesn't take a lot of people to have a really powerful musical experience and gathering.
that's what I'm hoping you're going to see at the barn. It's going to be 200 people that are there to see you.
Yeah.
There's no distraction. There may be a couple beer cans opening,
Well,
but
that's fine.
it's like they probably will. They're gonna be visit. I will say this. When Paul Raymond boys were there, Josh came up to me. He goes, "These people won't be quiet." I'm like, man, like these people don't get to see each other that often.
Yeah,
Like that's part. You're getting to experience them getting to be together too. So it's a lot of community.
exactly. I
And
I if it, obviously there are times when people need to read the room like everybody, but at the same time, yeah, it's a gathering. And and I, yeah I, I think that is the point, is just everyone being together, and it's not all about me you
I
know
want them to go, man, this was a really fun night. And I got to see something I wouldn't have got to see before. I want you to say, Josh paid me and he fed me and he gave us stuff to drink and the people treated us right, in the words of Laid Back. Um, and then you go on to the next show and go, you know what? I really had a good time playing at this place in the middle of nowhere. You should try it out. And, and me
looks
being able to
beautiful.
continue to bring those kind of shows here, because when you get here, you're going to be like, Josh, this really is like, I know it's not Appalachia, but you're in the middle of nowhere. And, but that's why it's awesome.
It looks awesome.
Uh, 2025, big stuff on the horizon, or we're going to take a break for the winter. And
Yeah, definitely a break for the winter. I feel like I'm winding down, but I don't know exactly what's going to
hey,
happen.
yeah, we don't have much time now. I should have said this to you earlier. You should 100% bring some of your artwork with you
Okay.
to the barn.
I'm working
And
on some prints, like the local printery. I'm trying to go local, and it's taking a while, but
I
uh,
listen, I'm trying to get into screen printing and I'm not good. But I do local too. We've got a place here that prints a lot of my stuff, and I'm trying to figure out a way to order some stuff from them and like t take some of the steps out. You know, entrepreneur. Like I'm losing money probably,
it's an
but
offering,
just like getting my hands on it and trying to do some of it myself. Like this shirt may not be perfect, but I did it.
Yeah.
Like I screened it. I messed it up right here by the boob. Uh, but you can tell people, I did it.
Right.
But
It's a piece of
we need to have an art show is what we need to do. We need to find some other artists that we're buds with that maybe people be surprised that they do that kind of stuff too.
off the top of my head, Hayden Miles from Wayne Graham. He's a really
Is
good.
he who does their album cover stuff?
I don't know about that, but I know that he does uh like illustrations.
Of
So
course he does, because they're some of the coolest, most artsy people that I've ever met.
yeah.
They're awesome. They were one of those bands that were here where people were like, man, like that's nothing I would have ever listened to, and I really really liked it.
Well,
Like they were really good.
their mom is their uncle is married to my aunt, so we always say that we're
Family band.
brother cousins.
I think I have some of those. Well, man, hey, I like I said, I've been a fan for a long time. Uh, I, I feel like you're on the Mount Rushmore, at least of the last 20 years of Kentucky artists. Uh, and your name is on the Kentucky Music Highway, so so you do deserve to be with those folks. Uh, I'm excited for you to be here. I'm excited to see you again in person. It's been a while, but I'm just proud of you, and I hope that you keep on the path that you're on, man. Like uh, someday when we're 80, we'll hologram each other or something and be like, man, remember 40 years ago and when I played in your barn before that guy got drunk and burned it down.
Oh God, I hope not.
Yeah, I hope not too. But man, I'm proud of you, and I can't wait to see you.
Thank you, brother. I
Thank you so
appreciate
much for being on this, folks.
it.
October 19th. Tickets are still available. We've still got some. You're seeing this a week before the show, so if you haven't got one yet, hopefully we're sold out. Hopefully you're SOL. But if we still have some, get those, and we'll see you at the Randall Barn. Thank you, Nick.